Joe Biggs here with Infowars.com. I'm in El Paso, Texas right now. I'm heading over to my contact's location where I'm going to meet up with him, and we're going to cross over into Juarez from downtown El Paso. That's the main entrance over into Mexico right there. From there, we're going to travel west to the city of Anapra. Now, what I've been finding out lately is Anapra is basically, third world hellhole. I mean, it's poverty-ridden, trash, crime everywhere, just complete and total chaos. And we showed you from that aerial footage yesterday, and we're also able to see on the ground earlier in the day as well, that where that mountain range is right there, there's zero fence whatsoever. Now, when you get down to the bottom of the fences on both sides, or the bottom of the mountain, I should say, on both sides, there's a fence that just shoots straight up. So, I mean, it's easy to get over. These guys who are traveling, ISIS or whatever, coming over from Syria, Iraq, Afghanistan, wherever, this territory is much like something that they're very used to, and they're very used to this kind of terrain and personality as far as a dog-eat-dog world. Very, very crazy area to be in. All in all, a little nervous. I know my contact sounded really nervous on the phone. I mean, much to expect. It's Juarez, that's been labeled as pretty much one of the most dangerous places in the world for the past few years due to all the cartels fighting over basically who's going to be running the drug business in that area. And then on top of that, you've got the Mexican military, and then possibly ISIS as well. We talk about this stuff a lot, so I know we're definitely going to be on their radar. Try to do as much as I can to disguise myself and not be seen. But all in all, I'm sure once I get over there, my nerves will calm down and I'll be in combat mode, so to say, and a little bit more focus on what needs to be done. So we're going to go head over there, meet my contact, and then roll over to the border, and we'll see what happens. It's amazing just how different the world changes once you go over the border. I mean, as soon as I entered into Juarez, it was like I was on the other side of the earth in a third world country. I mean, everything is completely different. The traffic is chaotic. People are all over the place. But the craziest thing was Anapra. Anapra is so much like Iraq. It is like third world at the bottom. And one of the things that my buddy was telling me out as we were driving through there, were, hey man, if you see someone standing around with like a cell phone or whatever like that, they're more than likely a spotter for the cartel. So I'm here with my buddy Anthony, who drove me actually over the border into Juarez and then took me into Anapra. Quite honestly, we're not saying that there isn't ISIS out there. All we know was based off what we saw in my experience, it's definitely a possibility because there's so many compounds, so many high walls, and it's such an environment that those guys would thrive in, wouldn't you think?
It's a very aggressive environment. People would just stare at us the minute they saw their plates, and it's not somewhere you want to be. Definitely, I just wanted to get out of there as soon as possible.
Oiga, amigo, una pregunta. ¿En esta área usted no ha visto a musulmanes o a esos gentes que han estado llegando reportes? ¿No? ¿No ha visto usted aquí en el área musulmanes? ¿No?
No, la verdad que no.
Ok.
No sé que sean musulmanes.
Ajá. Ok. Gracias.
No, si supiéramos.
Right before we drove off, he started laughing, saying, if I did or if I had seen anything, I wouldn't tell you guys. So we thought it was kind of sketchy how when we interviewed him, he just kind of walked away and started laughing about it. Also, the mosque that we did encounter down there, it stuck out like a sore thumb. Like, it was just a pretty crazy experience overall.
So the fencing around the side of this mosque-looking building, it had barbed wire on the top of it, and it looked like it had some cameras as well at the top. This place stuck out. I mean, every other building in that area looked like it was just about to fall over, and this one was the most kept up building out there. While I was over in Anapra with Anthony, Josh Owens was actually on the American side, just across maybe about a half a mile on American soil, and he actually had the opportunity to speak with Border Patrol, who said that area right there at Anapra and the Cristo Rey mountain right there is probably the most crossed place on the border by illegals.
You guys get a lot of illegals coming through here?
Yeah, this right by the end of the fence right there. This is like the main corridor for this area. They come through the hills and along the tracks here on this side. This is like the main spot. This is probably the most highly trafficked area in our whole area of operations here.
Well, it looks like, does the fence stop in the mountains?
Yeah, there's no fence across the back side of the mountain until you get down to where the river crosses the border on the other side here.
So is that what they do? They climb up the mountains and come
They
in?
just walk around the end of the fence, up the canyon a little bit, try to sneak through. And it's not uncommon to hear gunshots coming from there at night.
Really?
Yeah, on a regular basis.
All in all, this has been a very intense trip. I mean, going into Anapra and Juarez is already risky enough as it is, and then add the fact that we're trying to go out and actually look for ISIS is essentially pretty crazy in itself. But we were able to get some good footage. We were able to get a good idea, a starting point for further reports down the road. Stay tuned for more updates with this whole ISIS on the border situation. I'm Joe Biggs with Infowars.com.
General, what do you think about the FBI saying that there was a terror alert on Monday about a potential Fort Hood situation?
The police are shoving people, shoving Alex, shoving the crowd.
Here we go, folks. I'm being assaulted.
Whether it's the radio show, the news websites, documentary films, or the nightly news, InfoWars is the tip of the spear.
Is this another false flag stage attack to take our civil liberties and put more homeland security while sticking their hands down on the pants on the streets?
It's up to us to set brush fires in the minds of men and women everywhere. And that's what PrisonPlanet.tv is designed to do.
You watch, the Assad regime is going to be blamed or accused of using chemical weapons against the so-called rebels.
What we see now is a war against reality. It's a war against the truth.
It's more vital than ever that supporters of freedom become members of PrisonPlanet.tv and share their membership with up to 11 friends and family. Visit InfoWarsNews.com today. Become a member, share your membership, and help take the InfoWar to the next level.